LeBron James started in high school larger than life. And then he did something that a lot of people destroy him for. He's created a character and identity that has no boundaries by a resentful world. He still had the larger than life image, but he turned into the villain and it worked. This book, The 48 Laws of Power, is all about just that, gaining power. Law 25 talks about making sure that you're always reinventing yourself and recreating yourself. I'm going to give you guys kind of like a background of what Robert Greene in this book is trying to explain. And then after that, I will give you my own examples that I came up with at the end. So he talks about your identity and your image. It's not you just recreate yourself once, it's a constant thing of recreating yourself. He talks about taking control of your own identity and your own image. He says it's more important to do that rather than let the world do that for you. He says, create a character and identity that has no boundaries by this resentful world. The world wants to assign you a role in life, and once you accept that role, you are doomed. Your power is limited to the tiny amount within the role you select or are forced to assume. So I got examples. I wrote a little story. I'm going to read it to you. You guys are going to know who this person is. All right. There was once a boy from Akron, born with the fire of the goals in his veins. The people called him the chosen one, and they cheered as he rose, expecting miracles. But he failed. He failed to bring glory to his homeland. They turned their backs on him after he turned his back on them. And the crown they gave him became a curse. The boy left, not in shame, but in silence, and journeyed to a distant land by the sea. There he shed his old self like a serpent, shedding its old skin. He trained with warriors, embraced the shadows, and forged a new name in the fire, King. When he returned years later, he came not for praise, but for redemption, and lifted his people to victory and rewrote the legacy they once tried to bury. And when others faded with time, he evolved again into a builder, a symbol, larger than life. For he knew the ancient truth: to hold power, one must never stop becoming. And so the boy from Akron became who he chose to be. That, my friends, is the story of LeBron James. LeBron James started in high school larger than life. There was ESPN news crews at this guy's high school games. He put on this larger than life persona, signed 80 to $100 million in contracts before he even stepped 1 foot on the basketball court in the NBA. He had a deal with Coke, a deal with Nike. He was basically worth $100 million at 18. He got onto the court and he was spectacular, but he wasn't as good as what it was. The pressure was a little bit too much. The lights were a little bit too bright. He got swept in the NBA Finals. He didn't make the playoffs his first 2 or 3 seasons. And then when he did, he came up small in the biggest moments. And then he did something that a lot of people destroy him for. He left. Michael Jordan stayed in Chicago his whole career. Kobe Bryant stayed in Los Angeles whole career. Magic Johnson stayed as a Laker his whole career. Larry Bird stayed as a Boston Celtic his whole career. This was a thing where you tough it out, you find a way. What he did was he ran away. That's what it was described as at the time. He ran away, and as he says, he took his talents to South Beach. He moved to South Beach. And he did something even worse than that. He also teamed up with 2 of the top players in his conference at the time, which basically made those other 2 teams weak when they all teamed up on one. So you have 2 less teams that you're competing with. And then you, what they call, built a super team. And he changed his whole role and his whole persona from the small town kid from Akron, Ohio, playing with his hometown team in Cleveland. He changed his whole persona to the bad guy, to I don't care about anybody about my team and myself. Your life sucks. My life's great. Put his shades on, made fun of other players. He just turned into the villain, and it worked. He still had the larger than life image, but he turned into the villain, and it worked. And he actually won 2 out of 3 championships, or 2 out of 4, I think, 2 out of 4, while he was there. And then when he was done using that situation, he went and saw another situation that just so happened to be back in the team that he just left from his hometown. And then he became the hero. Then he became the kid is back. He became, I have unfinished business and I owe this to you guys, and I'm back to win here. And he became the hero. Then he went to Los Angeles and became the Tinseltown Hollywood guy, Space Jam movie. Like, the man keeps changing. He's forever recreating himself. And whether you like it or you don't, it's giving him the power. He's not allowing anybody else to tell him you have to stay on one team. Oh, you know what? They already have good players. They don't need you. Now it's unfair for the rest of the league. Oh, well, you should be a humble person. Oh, you're a villain. You were good as the villain. You should stay as a villain. Now you want to be a hometown hero again and take advantage of that situation. Guys, he doesn't care about what you guys want his image to be. Remember what I said in the beginning of this. He's created a character and identity that has no boundaries by a resentful world. The world wants to keep you in a boundary. They want to keep you in this square box because they're resentful. And he said, F that. I'm going to do what I know I can do to break these barriers down and be larger than life and be whoever I need to be. Because when he got into the NBA, they assigned him a role, right? They assigned him a role. But remember what I said, the world wants to assign you a role in life. And once you accept that role, you are doomed. Your power is limited to the tiny amount within the role you select or are forced to assume. Then you might not like that story of LeBron James. You might not like it. But he did a damn good job of holding the power, keeping the power, and growing the power through Law 25 in the book, The 48 Laws of Power. And that law is recreate yourself.